anything can happen to any person at any time.
Correct.
And if you have the hope and will and mentally to survive and come back, rather than lose your brains and fail, this is what survival is about. That's what I have written in the book.
What is survival?
Basically, survival means to stay alive
Okay.
in any environment, because it may happen at any place, anywhere, anytime.
Mhm.
It can be in the jungle, it can be on the roads, it can be on the highway, it can be anyway, or you are gone for trekking or mountaineering or climbing and you lost your way. So survival situation can be anywhere. So basically survival is a very important thing, so that in spite of the hardships that you may come across, you come back home alive. Take for example, some few years ago there was a bomb blast in Bombay.
12 मार्च 1993 ये वही दिन है जिस दिन देश की माया नगरी दहल उठी थी। भारतीय इतिहास का वो दिन जिसने देश में आतंकवाद की नई परिभाषा गढ़ दी। इन सीरियल धमाकों में 257 लोग मौत की नींद सो गए।
Yes, 93 bomb blast. We will never forget that.
Will not forget that. And that
26/11.
time, and people, trains were stopped, buses stopped, taxis stopped, and people were going helter-skelter where to go.
Can you help me about that?
Basically, survival situation is a situation.
Hello, Mr. Rustomji. How are you?
Hi, Vipul. How are you? It's nice
I'm fine.
meeting you.
I'm fine. So the last podcast that we did, I've got a lot of views on that, and it was a very popular podcast among the martial artist community.
Okay.
Now, as you are a martial artist and a survival instructor,
Okay.
right? You teach about survival, right?
Right.
And I see there's a book that is coming up.
Yeah.
So we will talk about this book, but let us know about this book as well while we are talking on this subject.
Yes.
So this subject, this podcast is going to be on survival itself. So let's start with the first question. As a survival instructor, what do you think? What is survival?
What is survival? Basically, survival means to stay alive
Okay.
in any environment, because it may happen at any place, anywhere, anytime.
Mhm.
It can be in the jungle, it can be on the roads, it can be on the highway,
Uh-huh.
it can be anyway, or you are gone for trekking or mountaineering or climbing and you lost your way. So survival situation can be anywhere. So basically survival is a very important thing, so that in spite of the hardships that you may come across, you come back home alive.
Okay.
Okay. That is called survival.
Uh-huh. That's a very to the point definition of survival. So does your book, which reads Every Man's Survival Guide, include all this that we are going to discuss in this podcast?
Yes. What we are going to discuss is the gist of what is there in the book and much, much more, of course. So that's what there is no book on survival available to the people and the public.
Okay.
And though in English they are there for those who are looking for it, it's available.
Right.
But today everybody doesn't think of survival. At the last moment you see, it's like war is coming, and the last moment you say, I will build soldiers to fight.
Uh-huh.
You understand? So everybody has a careless attitude, and they do not know the situation they would encounter at the moment. So that's how it is. Survival is very important for every person, not only as a survivalist, but for every person, for a man, woman, child. It's there for everybody. It is not specific to a sect of people or survival only to a soldiers or survival only to an adventurous or because anything can happen to any person at any time.
Correct.
And if you have the hope and will and mentally to survive and come back rather than lose your brains and say, this is what survival is about. That's what I have written in the book.
Correct.
And it's in a question and answer form.
Right.
So it becomes easier to understand the question, and I have written answers to it. And of course, just as I have read many books on survival, and that's how I feel in future it will be a great help to the public.
Correct. So we won't be able to cover the complete book over here in this podcast because I'm sure this book means like an encyclopedia. So we might just go in brief about certain topics.
Correct.
But in case if you want to learn more about survival, here's the book that's going to come soon from Cyrus Rustomji. So while you were talking, you said a survival situation. You also discussed that how to come across that. I mean, how do one faces that situation or how to overcome that situation. So, Motamoti, can you tell me what is a survival situation? I mean, how do you define it? How do you describe it? Is it like a war? Is it like falling from a cliff or maybe a riot kind of a situation? Can you help me about that?
Yeah. Basically, survival situation is a situation that can take place anytime, anywhere, any moment.
Uh-huh.
And it can be you may be sitting over here and all of a sudden there's riots. It can happen.
Does happen.
It happen. And you need to survive. Take for example, some few years ago there was a bomb blast in Bombay.
Yes, 93 bomb blast. We will never forget that.
We'll not forget that. And that
26/11.
time, and people, trains were stopped, buses stopped, taxis stopped, and people were going helter-skelter where to go and how to survive. If they had certain things with them on a daily basis, they could survive anybody to a nearby friend's place, or they take a refuge in a corner of a building. So it is a situation that can happen out of your comfort zone, out of your experiences which are incurred. And you can say it's a struggle to fight to come back alive from where you are, go back to your home. You understand? So situation, there are many type of situations which is, that can occur. And it's very important that every person who faces that life and death situation and he has the will to come out is a survival situation.
I have a question, which is what is a survivor and what is a survivalist? But I will park that question aside. But as you said that, there are various moments of survival.
Correct.
Various moments of surviving a situation.
Correct.
So
various moments of survival is different and various is different. There are two different questions you're asking.
Okay.
When you're talking various moments of survival, basically there are two types of survival. One is natural survival,
okay,
which is a godsend, and other is the unnatural survival, that is man-made survival.
Can you help me about that?
Yeah. Basically, survival situation is a situation. When we talk about natural survival, God save us, it can be floods, it can be tsunamis, it can be storm, it can be heavy rain, it can be an earthquake, or all these things, they come where the factors of nature are involved. That is called natural survival, natural effect of survival. But unnatural effect is man-made. Suppose there is a robbery and you save yourself from that. You have been kidnapped and you try to save yourself from that. Or you have met with an accident in the car, you try to save that. You met with an accident in a train or a bus, and you happen to come into a survival situation that come out of it. It can be so these small little factors are situations, whether they are God made or man made. It can happen if all of a sudden there is a terrorist attack, which we do not know. And all of a sudden people will go helter skelter and you try to survive that. So if you carry with yourself the basic needs, first, knowledge is important. The survival tool is which you carry is important, and of course, the will to survive is the most important factor. Because without the will, without the hope of coming back alive, you cannot survive.
And I'm sure this is going to be very interesting for all the Indians who are listening to our podcast, because India, when it comes to Kashmir, it is it's a region which is below -10
Yes.
at times.
Yes.
We have northeast, one of the places which I would love to go. Completely a dense forest,
Yes.
rains throughout the years.
Yes.
We have Gujarat and Rajasthan on the other side, which is desert
Desert.
and heat. And when we go towards the south, it's surrounded by water, rains,
Rains. Correct.
and as you said, tsunami.
Tsunami.
So this is going to be very important for every Indian who's going to listen to this podcast.
So you may be any part of India,
Uh-huh.
and according to the place where you are staying,
Right.
or you need to prepare yourself for such calamities that would take place,
Uh-huh.
or a holocaust that would take place.
Correct.
You understand?
So it is irrespective of where you live, in a desert, in a snow-cladded mountains,
yes,
in somewhere which is very green and
it
lush.
may just happen that you go on a tour up
Uh-huh.
north, and then all of a sudden you got lost in the mountains in the cold weather,
Uh-huh.
and then you need to survive.
Like that happened in the Pahalgam attack.
Yeah.
They just went over there to have holidays, and then it was a survival situation for them. So tell me what it means to survive.
Basic needs for survival means to come back from alive, from any life and death situation that occurs to you. You understand?
Right.
When you talk about means of survival, one cannot prepare for everything. You understand? Since India is a country which you just explained, north is cold, south is rain, west is desert, east is floods and things like that. One cannot prepare for all type of situations. However, you can, if you know where you are going, your environment today, you can prepare yourself that in this country where I go, that would happen to me. So I would prepare that way. Suppose, for example, I'm going up north in the cold regions. Then I know that I will have to have proper clothing, gloves, shoes, basically the needs that I would require to keep myself warm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about survival kit. We'll come to that later.
Okay.
If I'm in the desert, then I don't need to wear jackets and all that, but I still need to survive with that. The way food and water may be a necessity, then how would you provide yourself during that time with food and water? If it's in torrential rain and all in the jungles, where swamp area, you've gone as an adventure and then you got lost. you need to come back to your civilization. So unless you are prepared with certain skills, you can face any survival situation.
Okay.
That is basically help you to survive.
So before going ahead, I have a question.
Yeah.
So does it mean to survive you need to be a martial artist, or this is for anyone who's listening to this podcast?
I said surviving doesn't mean anything as a martial artist.
Okay.
You understand? Not necessarily you need to be a martial artist. But one of the skills you should learn is self-defense, which is one of the skills required for survival.
Correct.
You may be attacked on the road. You may be attacked by the goods. You may be under road rage. If you know to defend yourself and if you learn martial arts, it will help you.
It's
So
an
that
added
is-
benefit.
It's an added benefit. So that is a kind of survival, but it does not necessarily mean you need to be a martial artist to survive.
Uh-huh.
You understand? Because survival is for every person, whether you're old, whether you're young, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, whether you're a child. It can help everybody to survive.
Yes, everyone wants to learn.
Everyone wants to learn. Everyone wants to say. But unfortunately, then it's never taught to you. There is no school that teaches you survival techniques.
Correct.
Abroad is yes. There are schools where people go to a survival school for bushcraft and campcraft, and they teach you how to survive. You remain there for 7 days. These things happen in India also. It is happening. Way up in the north. I've heard of it. But how many people are aware of it? How many people do go for that?
Okay.
You understand? Unless that interest is there to us individual, then he looks forward to a school like that and he goes.
It is like a hobby.
It's like a hobby. But survival is anywhere. You understand? It can happen, as I said, any place, anytime, anywhere. So, forewarned is forearmed. If you have studied, if you have known, you have the skills, it will help you to survive.
Correct. So when we were discussing, this is when we were talking off the camera, when we met earlier, I thought that a survivor and a survivalist is the same person.
No.
But you enlightened me.
No.
So tell me the difference between who's a survivor and who's a survivalist. What is the major difference? What is the thought process? How does one have an approach towards life or towards surviving a situation?
Basically, survivor is a person as any mishaps happens to him, any misfortunes happen to him, and any calamities that happen to him, and he tries to come back, takes over what you call as endures to come out alive, comes back to normality. That is a survivor. That can be anybody.
Okay.
Okay, but a survivalist is a different. Survivalist is a prepper. He prepares long before any calamity or anything happens.
Maybe like an Indian Army officer, soldier.
They have to learn survival because they can be anywhere, all the
Correct.
places. So part of the training given to them is survival. They carry a survival kit. Every soldier carries his own survival kit.
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's small, but they carry the survival kit with them. Because if they are caught in an enemy place and they need to survive, or all his other friend soldiers have died and he's the last lone somewhere lost and he tries to escape and come back to his uh, uh, army headquarters. He tries to survive. So while that thing happens to him, what are the needs? If you have some basic skills, basic knowledge, that is a survivalist. So basically a survivalist is a person who pre-thinks ahead, plans ahead,
Okay.
and he plans ahead and he is aware of the natural as well as unnatural disasters that may take place or encounters. These are survivalists.
So you said planning is very important in
Planning
survival.
is very, very important in survival.
So I'll give you an example. I was just watching another podcast. This is from a military officer, and then this person tells that when they used to go up in Northeast, the militants used to understand that these soldiers with 3 kgs or 30 kgs of bag, they were a different breed of soldiers, and they would withdraw the militants from there. So it was a very important essence of the planning that these people have come plan. These were the Gorkhas.
Yeah.
The army soldiers were Gorkhas, and they understood that you cannot play around with the Gorkha.